can at least semi-pretend that I'm a professional instructor.
Dictionary definition rolling across the bottom.
Yep. As oh, come on. I like to make sure that words are known. So when we say, like, be indifferent to where you live, nobody is confused about what the word indifferent is.
Oh, okay.
I did that with Sunny. In all things have no preferences. What is the dictionary definition of preferences?
Oh.
So if you know what that word means, then you won't screw it up. And it's a lesson I learned from Donald Trump.
You promised me an unprofessional live stream, and this seems pretty professional right here.
Well, you know,
I've never once defined anything for my viewers.
It was something I learned from Donald Trump when he goes out there and says, it'll be a bloodbath if you don't vote for me. And then I was like, he's going to kill everyone. He's just shooting everyone. I was like, all right. We could have avoided this by using better nomenclature and having dictionary definitions out when we say things.
Give the guy credit. He was part of some bloodletting on the campaign trail.
He absolutely was.
Prophetic, maybe.
Yeah. The memes that are coming out now about that bloodletting are fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah. We just hit like the 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. It's like.
And I went, has it only been a year? Jesus Christ, that seems like it was forever ago.
Well, like a week after it happened, it was all Shinzo Abe, the assassinated former prime minister of Japan. It was like, Donald-san, dodge your head now. now it's that other guy. You have to hide the list.
Gotta hide the list.
Yeah. All right.
I almost feel bad that I spent a good week on my Trump bashing over Israel that I had, and I only stayed on Facebook to do that for that reason, because I was planning on nixing my personal Facebook page, and I hung around for a couple extra days to stir up a bunch of shit with a bunch of people. And then I finally got the page nixed and was like, good, that's all that stupid Facebook drama is behind me. And then the Epstein fucking flip-flop. And I was like, oh, I almost am tempted to get back on Facebook just to stir up some more shit.
It's okay. You can live vicariously through me. I started shit on my own.
Perfect.
So now that we're live, dictionary definitions. The dictionary definition of indifference, a lack of interest, concern, or sympathy. So when we say be indifferent to where you live, we are meaning I'll have a lack of interest, concern, or sympathy to where you live.
All right.
And I brought you on because you do 1 or 2 bug out classes.
I do.
And you also, what was it? Wolverine Warfare.
Yep, which was kind of like a bug out class mixed with a shooty class.
Yeah, I'm imagining some people can be a little bit hesitant about doing that because all of a sudden where you live looks more like this and not their home.
Yeah.
And for those who can't really see it, it's a cardboard box mansion.
It's pretty stellar, really. I'd like to play in that.
I think every person would. I was doing the research for pictures today. I was like, all right, I gotta have picture stuff. Hey, look at that cardboard box mansion. Because
I could use one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a son. I have an excuse to go play in it. I mean, my son's 18, but still, I'd be like, Dad, I'm an adult. I ain't playing in the cardboard castle. I'm getting the damn castle.
Don't argue with me.
Do what you're told.
So now that we have the dictionary definition, we have the value of our living conditions. And more specifically, oftentimes we find specific individuals put more value into where they live than they do anything else.
Oh, yes.
And, they develop what they call the compound, and they become so stagnated to it that I would say, pretty important thought processes on this thing we call violence go missing. And so the question becomes, how does your, well, I spelled everything wrong. Fantastic. How does concerning yourself with living conditions take away from students of violence? And that's supposed to be a question, not a statement. So missing a question mark.
It's all right. There is this topic has come up in discussion with me and other folks over the course of a long time, and I always thought, like, I had an idea what I thought that meant, and obviously the few folks I discussed it with, they had an idea of what they thought it meant, and then the folks who didn't really know about that whole list beforehand, they kind of on the fly were like, all right, I imagine it means this. So I'm listening to other people's views, and at the time, I thought, well, fuck, maybe I'm wrong, because everybody else that this sentence has popped up in front of came up with almost the polar opposite of what I came up with. And I mean, admittedly, there's only whatever 10 words in the statement, so there's not a whole lot of. Let me go back. 1, 2, 5 or 6 words, whatever. I'm not good at math. You're the Asian. You're supposed to be good at math.
That's a lie.
Oh,
not that kind of Asian.
Yeah, neither is Calvin. But and then I was like, wait a minute. Just because I am in the extreme minority here doesn't necessarily make me wrong, which in general, the populace needs to understand that better as well. So like when you threw out the topic for me, I was like, oh, well, I know my take on this, and it's going to be the opposite of what people think. And I'm not so sure. It might have just been the small group of people that I talked to that all kind of viewed one way versus the other. So my general gist of it, of that phrase, that statement, what would you call it, a rule? Because I don't even know what the word.
I think it would be a guideline.
A guideline. All right. So as applied to a student of violence, what I got from the people that I discussed it with was that they viewed it and said, oh, well, I can live where I'm happy and comfortable and still live the warrior lifestyle, because I don't have to go somewhere else where I can do more training. Like I can I can live out in the fucking middle of North Dakota and never go to a class and never go train and practice with other participants because I don't have to do that. Musashi said, I can live here where my job and my family are and still be a student warrior. And I was like, that's what you all took from that? And they were like, yeah, I don't have to go to the place where the training happens. And I was like, because I viewed it as the opposite of it almost ties into the one right before that with the and all things have no preference, because it's really kind of, in my view, it was like a large scale version of that. No preference about where you live, and that if you could further yourself along the path, you would go live wherever was required for you to do that. Similar to some random cat in the middle of Pennsylvania leaving everything there to go live in Tennessee because he thought it would help him pursue his journey along that path. So yeah, we totally read opposite things from that statement. And mine was, don't be anchored to the comfort of your home if you can go somewhere else and progress further along your path.
I actually tend to agree with that statement. My living conditions have always been contingent on either A, wherever the military placed us, and B, a major metropolitan hospital, due to my youngest son, my middle child's medical needs.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of landed me pretty much in inner cities almost.
Yep.
Fortunately, we are, Coast Guard's so small, they're like, whatever, we have no base housing for you, go the fuck away and find a place that's safe. So we've been lucky that way. But I've lived pretty close to cities, and I still live close to cities, and I don't really care what the crime rate is. It's not that's not a concern for me. It's more of am I in an advantageous position
Mm-hmm.
for people I care about and for job requirements.
Yep.
Because that's what at the time that's what was paying the bills. That's why I'm over here in Washington. That's where we were stationed and all that good stuff. And no, I'm not a veteran. The wife is the veteran, not me. For those who think I'm misspeaking here, stolen valor.
Nope. You're the, what is it? The Dependosaurus Rex.
Yeah, the Dependopotamus Rex, and yep. But that's what I kind of took from it is it's you shouldn't be concerned about those things, because it's material possessions, and if we look at Musashi, vagabond lifestyle, didn't really have a place to call home, though he did come from a family that had a home.
Yeah,
this
like,
is a guy
most people do.
Yeah, he's anyone who could call themselves a samurai had big mansion that they could go probably live in and retire and do all that, but he devoted himself to wandering the world and finding people to fight. And if you're going to do it that way and not tie yourself to a name, you should probably not care. And my suspicion is that we have a habit of making our homes comfortable,
mm-hmm.
and as a result of which they become how do you say, places of laziness.
Yes.
And I think that it's a level of caution against finding this place where you completely let your guard down and
mm-hmm.
your brain vacates altogether.
Yep.
Because I'm always reminded, 100% of home invasions happen in the home.
They do, weirdly enough.
So that's kind of my suspicion.
However, if you lived in a home that was frequently home invaded, you probably would not have that as a place of laziness.
This is true.
It might actually be beneficial to your mindset somewhat.
Yeah. So, but that was, but that's a thing that we've noticed. And as it so turns out that we turn these places into, words are escaping me today.
That's okay. I only know like 7, so you're gonna have to bear with me.
But our training spaces can be considered homes.
Yes, there are people in this chat right now who I think, for a large portion of their life, viewed their home as the spot where they trained.
Yeah, and it brought on a question of students and how do we explain this further as instructors, and more importantly, our minds. This is all fucking cockeyed, and I don't know why. There it is. Headspace as our living space. That's what I wanted.
You'll get there.
I warned you, it was unprofessional.
All those things you got to click, and you don't have one of them people like Rogan does to bring that up.
Don't watch here if you're looking for professional stuff. I'm trying to keep it somewhat foolish.
You got a reputation to uphold.
I do, of dangerous garbage instructor.
Yeah. We need like a member patch or something.
I know we need t-shirts, but they need to come in tall.
I don't need a tall one.
I need a tall, otherwise all my guns show and I got like a belly shirt going on.
I'll give you some of the bottom off of my shirt.
There you go. But it brought to me this question because a lot of people say train like you fight, or your training spaces should be known. And I got wondering about sterile training environments and the headspaces that we find ourselves in when we train in these clean, sterile, isometric trainings, places. And oftentimes what I keep saying, at least, I won't cast aspersions upon you, But I keep seeing this stuff
Mm-hmm,
where it's like, okay, well, I don't know about your home, but my home does not possess walls that look like this.
No, I can see through none of my own walls. They're not in any of those shapes.
No, hang on, let me pull it back up. This weird angle I saw, I was like, huh, that's that's an interesting wall.
Yep, it is. It is.
But you do a class called Fish,
Yes.
and uh, so it's fighting in
Someone's house.
right. I don't know if that's an allegory for anything other than someone's house.
Yep, just someone's house.
So, which would be safe to say that that would be a living space.
Yep.
And so I wanted to kind of ask you questions on these sterile training environments and the value, there it is, the value of the known versus unknown in shooting conditions. When we train, we have the students, some things in the training sphere are known variables, like
Yep.
this cardboard target should be shot.
Yep.
But there are some unknown conditions. Up here, for example, it's commonly wet. And so an unknown variable is, as I call them, general mud. And I have students slip and slide. And
Yep.
if you want to show up clean, you're not going to leave clean. So in your experience as an instructor, what are the values of the known versus unknown conditions?
Well, they both certainly have a place. The known conditions, it helps isolate something that you might be working on with the student, whatever your block of instruction is. So, like, to use fish as an example, we may be talking about how to use a threshold as concealment, potentially cover, but most likely just concealment. And so, like, one of the things that I set up in the shoot house that we use, and I've set up in my own home, was at the shoot house. The way we do it, we do tape on the floor at different angles, and I do corresponding colored pieces of tape out in the room that correspond with the angles on the floor. So what I'm trying to show the students is how, like, if they're going to slice the pie and take a little wedge, how far they'll move on the floor and how much that should show them in the room. So it's definitely known that if they step from this piece of tape 30 degrees to the next piece of tape, they're going to see 12 and a half feet of lateral space in this room. Now, it isn't because 12 and a half feet of lateral space is the magic number or any of that. It's to start to illustrate to them, these little steps you take here are going to show you these size spaces at the other end of rooms. So it being known helps them visualize what they're going to get with these movements that we're asking. But then the unknown is when I send them into the rest of that shoot house that doesn't have that set up, it was because I want them to use that so that when they have role players out there with UTM guns, they're not just exposing themselves to more than they can visually process, in one step. So the unknown, they'll learn a lot of lessons from, but having that known section on the same thing, just like turning a corner around a doorway, having both of those, one helps me teach it to them, and then one helps them progress to that next step by doing it in all those doors of the shoot house. So they both have a place for sure. More often though, the first steps are known, and then you progress past those.
Okay. And so it's safe to say that having some unknown variables is valuable now.
Yes. I think that's where the real meat is.
Yep.
I don't like putting the cart before the horse, and it's easier for me to instruct them with the known variables, so I can critique and coach as needed for the parts that seem like they need the work before we go throwing them into the unknown.
Right, because obviously, I'll bring it up again. this is kind of just known. There
Yep.
are no variables. This is all known. All the targets, you know where they are. They know how many, and
Yep.
more than likely you know exactly how many times to shoot. But what we see in reality is it tends not to work out exactly that way. Corners are
Right.
weird. People behave odd.
The target left the spot that you thought it was going to be in.
Yeah, go figure. You shot 3 of his friends, and he didn't want to stick around to be the
Yeah,
4th.
he didn't stay in that one corner where we had placed him.
Yeah, damn. And that kind of brings on to, oh, I lost my pictures. There it is. The cosplay conditions versus simulated conditions, and everybody wants to be these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where I found this picture, but I found it today, and I was like, well, this wouldn't pass the internet's topics of firearm safety, especially this one guy over here, second from the right, with his rifle pointed at the guy clearing the doorway.
Yep. Although the internet would probably give them some leeway because they're operating.
Yeah, they got the camouflages and the body armors and all the good stuff.
Yeah, broad daylight with their nods on and stuff.
Yeah, and whoopsies, there we go, clicking all the kinds of random shit. So that brought on to the question of when we're training, how much stuff is us trying to make ourselves comfortable versus making ourselves workable?
That's a good question. I think we spend an inordinate amount of times prior to the training trying to figure out how to make the training more comfortable, for sure. Whether it's playing with all the gear, buying new gear, dudes love gear. It does seem to be a focus of, well, how can I make the training part better? So it's interesting that you asked that, because I think I do that just as much as everybody else does. Because I too like gear. Even though I like to make fun of people who focus on the gear, like I'm a dude and I have an income, so it means I like to spend some of it on stuff. But the reality is we should be making the training more difficult on ourselves and less comfortable, so that if the time comes to use the training, anything else we have just makes it better. Like I remember Dave Biggers and I, when we were living in Camden, we bought mountain bikes. We're going to start doing some riding around. And I went to Walmart. I spent $109. I bought a Mongoose mountain bike, weighed like 62 pounds. Dave spent like $800 to buy something that weighed 19 pounds or something like that. So it's lighter. And I was like, but aren't we riding these bikes to get more fit? And wouldn't it seem like a 40-pound bike would help me more than a 20-pound bike? But he wanted his training to be more comfortable. And mind you, it's a different type of training, and I'm calling him out here. Like at some moment, he's going to send me a text and be like, bro, why'd you have to throw me under the bus like that? But it was the first illustration that came to mind, that we all probably do that more than we want, but we really should be working it the other way and making the training more miserable.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I think it was 2 years ago, when Tactical Response was out in Spokane, and in the middle of August, I went and took fighting pistol, fighting rifle, because they had both available.
Yep.
And for fighting rifle, all of a sudden, a lot of the same dudes I had taken fighting pistol with all had helmets and stuff, and I was like, wow, where were you keeping all of that? Like, oh, in our homes. Like, oh, okay. And then like about halfway through day one, all I can hear is Velcro. and then just the sucking noise of sweaty body armor. It's like they all just started dropping their armor because they had stopped being comfortable. And at that point, they were completely done. They were toasted, and they didn't want to do any more training with that on.
I've seen that a bunch in that class.
and it's always interesting for me when I see dudes show up in body armor, either for my classes or other people's classes, the amount of stuff that's on the body armor, beyond magazine carriers and medical equipment, which sure, okay, but it's the radios, it's the IR illuminators and all this stuff, and I was like, well, how often do you practice with any of it?
Well, unfortunately, we all know the answer is not often.
Yeah, not often enough to
They
validate.
don't practice often at all, and I'm sure they don't practice. When they do, it's not with all of those things.
So, there it is. Training is as a living space, and so could you say that, as we train, as we learn these things, as we spend the money, and let's be honest, training's not cheap. Could we safely say that we should be adopting what we learn in classes as our living space in our heads?
Yes,
I know that's an easy
absolutely.
question.
Like in my little circle of people around here, when we are talking about, well, usually we end up talking about other people, not as much like a gossipy sewing circle, but more of a evaluation of how much of an asset these people are, to whatever cause we may find ourselves aligned with in the future. And like, then how can we help them? So when we're inner circle talking about like, hey, so this guy struggles with this, maybe we need to do a study group on that, and so we can get him out, get him some help in this area, that kind of thing. But anyhow, while we're doing that, one of the things that comes up a lot is guys that I say they don't live that life. Some people are like, well, they don't walk the walk, and we mean the same thing. They're to them, the training events that they go to are it's their vacation or their treat for having put in so much overtime at work or whatever, and they don't live that when they leave the range. When they leave class or they come to a study group, when they go home, then they take it all off, including the mindset, and they set it aside for the next time with the plan that if there's ever an emergency, when they put the plate carrier on, they're going to put the mindset back on too. And I don't. It's my biggest complaint about people that I see a lot of potential in, is that you can tell that they don't live the life of I don't even know what to call the life of what, the life of a gun guy. I don't know how I would phrase it.
I think that's an ongoing question for a lot of us.
Yeah,
I don't know what we call this circle.
Yep.
Of the
Andrew
industry.
and I have that discussion every time we talk.
Yeah,
every conversation, he's like, "Bro, I need to know what we call what we do, because it's different than what other people do." And I was like, "Bro, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't read the right 40K book to steal a name for it yet."
Well, I mean, we could always just call it the inner circle, but
yeah.
But no, because I've had that conversation with Andrew a few times. I don't know what to call it. I know Sonny's talked about it. I know you've talked about it. I until we all come together and put our heads in one spot, I don't think we will have a name for.
I assumed, I told Andrew, that someday a word's going to pop up and someone's going to go, "That's it," and they're just going to start referring to it as that, and it'll stick.
Yeah, I've been sticking with. I'm a hypothetical instructor.
Because wait, is that a hypothetical garbage instructor?
I'm hypothetically, I'm a dangerous garbage instructor who teaches hypothetical things.
Oh,
because violence is a hypothetical.
It is.
Yeah,
right up until it becomes practical.
Yeah. Well, if that's what we do, then I stole something from 40K. Technically 30K. But it led me to this whole thing led me to another question, which is breakdowns in our environment. I'm so bad at this. There it is. Some people, they'll see this. This is not Seattle. Although, if I
Are
take
you
you on
sure?
a tour,
I mean, there's obviously some Photoshop in there, so I mean,
yeah,
part of it could be Seattle.
yeah, well, it's entirely possible. I could definitely find this. If anyone ever wants to take the homeless tour with me, I'm more than happy to. I could strip you of everything and have you dress you as a homeless and have you navigate your happy way back. See how long you make it.
I'll take your word for it that it's
Yeah,
bad.
no. But I've seen people, they'll say things like, "Don't go to stupid places," and I've kind of been curious, what the fuck is a stupid place?
Uh,
Because if that's where you live,
well, if you were indifferent to your stupid place, maybe you'd live somewhere else.
this is true. Or, but I was thinking, well, maybe I can't afford to live in a not so stupid place.
That could be the case. I bet you that those fellas in that photo don't have a whole lot of choice about where they live with their current set of circumstances. Like if they said, you know where I'd like to live? Colorado. Probably not going to happen at this very moment.
But
So, all right. So we got the breakdown of our environment. So where's the question going with this? I don't remember what I was going to answer.
Well, the question was, how is it our environments break us down based off of what we learn, right? And so obviously, like the best example I can kind of give is Mr. Rittenhouse
Mm-hmm.
in Wisconsin. His environment, we could safely say that for that moment, he was living there.
Yep.
If not, he definitely ran the risk of dying there. But as we saw, there were several breakdowns along the lines of maybe not necessarily his training, but at least the group of people he went out there with, their training broke down.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people fail to realize that Rittenhouse's battle buddy, the former Marine who testified against Mr. Rittenhouse, abandoned him.
Yeah. Like how the fuck does kid end up alone?
Yeah, well, because he was a shit Marine. I don't lack of better terms. For those who don't know, go back. You can listen to the trial. His battle buddy, as they call it, left him, and they didn't do the head count till after they had gotten back to the house, wherever their muster point was. And so, that environment broke down their training. So the question becomes, how do we manage the breakdowns in our environment?
Well, I would like to say that with more prior proper training, you would handle the curveballs better. The monkey wrenches wouldn't be so catastrophic. However, I also understand that for none of us, not certainly most of our students, that isn't their full-time 9 to 5. So they just by default are not going to devote the level of time. Even if someone can, like if Tom says, I'm going to put 40 hours next week into training with a team, if the team can't do it, well, then Tom doesn't get to do it either. So, I mean, you would have to just resort to individual training, which will not help with the things like that broke down, obviously, in his instance. And now, while the folks that do this, their 40-hour 9 to 5 should be fucking awesome at it. Even they're not that good at it. The Marine, who at one point that was his full-time job, because every Marine's a rifleman, and he fucking dropped the ball too. So, and I used to work for a Green Beret who all his friends were Green Beret guys, and we go out in the range and I'd watch shit fall apart, that they were doing just on a static range. So I can't even promise that like the prior proper training would alleviate that to a degree we'd all be comfortable with. But it's the only answer I think I got is the more second nature you make those things before an emergency, the more likely that's the default you'll do in an emergency. When there's a bunch of BLM activists throwing Molotov cocktails at you and so on and so forth.
So safe to say it's kind of like owning a house, right? You have the house itself's upkeep, right? So,
Yep.
the hole in the wall, window broke, shingle fell off, and then there's also the mortgage payments that you have to make. So it's not just enough that you keep putting the house back together. You also have to be making payments on it, and that's what we could safely say training is.
Yep, it's all the payments.
Yeah, it's all the installments, it's all the upkeep, it's staying on top of all of it and not letting it become a byproduct, or not a byproduct. I can't think of the word I wanted. Damn. But that's kind of the point of training, is to make our reactions, our behaviors aligned with training, and not well, I just started blasting.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I had nothing to fall back on, so I did X, whatever X happens to be.
Right.
I ran or I shot. Those are probably the two most common things.
Right. Because it kind of, that whole incident brings back to, the value of the unknown versus known conditions, and then the cosplay conditions versus simulated conditions. Obviously, we can prepare ourselves for, Russian invasion via Chinese freighter ship. That's cool. Or we can train ourselves around the more likely, these fine gentlemen make an appearance at your home. We can train to fight these guys, but more likely these guys.
I think that first group there with the multicam was probably easier to train against.
Yeah, probably.
They were kind enough to all dress the same and like, hey, it's us over here. We're the problem. Where that other group, it's the same problem that warfighters have had for a long time. When you can't tell the bad guys from the everybody's, that makes it much more difficult. Much easier on the bad guys to blend in with everybody else's. That was part of our partisan operations during Wolverine Warfare, was the being a very irregular force that could blend in with the populace.
That's awesome. I'm a little disappointed I wasn't able to make it out for that.
Well, we have one next year, and we'll probably have one the year after that. So if the stars align for you, there's always a hole there.
I'm going to try and make it. I got to try and make more classes this coming year.
Well, if you didn't live way out on the fucking left coast within the wrong time zone.
Or I can't even say if y'all moved out here. This entire coast is abducted. One political ideology. It's technically one state at this point.
Even fucking Clint Smith popped smoke and bailed.
He still he still lives up there.
Oh, he's moving.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not going to publicly say where I've been told he's moving to, because I don't know if he made that public. So I'll keep it on the down low, but it is a different time zone.
I took his defensive handgun class, and then I went through the shootouts he has.
Yeah.
And they make you buy frangible ammunition before you attend that class. So it's not a cheap, by any stretch, class. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. The frangible ammunition must be because you do a lot of shooting in this shoot house, and I can't wait. And I'm right here. I go. I'm ready. And they let me in. I was like, okay, gotta go find the bag. Bang! Target falls down. You're done. What? No. All I have for one.
I spent way too much ammo for this.
About too much ammo for one damn shot. No. Bullshit. But no, this is I've been doing Musashi every weekend. I cover a different one of these, and like I said, be indifferent to where you live. Kind of, it came up. I was like, well, I'm going to talk to the guy who teaches people to kind of bug out and kind of not bug out, become a problem and a thorn, and that. But you also teach other stuff, like home defense classes and
Yep. So well, like the like the fish class you brought up. Some people have called it home defense. Some people have called it CQB, and I was like, well, so it's not really either one of those. And it's why I went with the ambiguous name of fighting in someone's house. I don't know if it's my house or somebody else's house, because CQB kind of lends itself to believe like you're going in somebody else's structure, and home defense says someone's coming in your structure. Like I don't know what structure you might be fighting around. So let's boil it back to some more broad principles that so we don't have to like constrain ourselves to either the house is unknown or we can set up the house the way we want with, you know, put the bookshelves for backdrops around the child's room so that we don't have to worry about shoot throughs and blah, 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 blah. Like I've heard that in a home defense class, you know, is one of the things you can do ahead of time. But where was I going with all that? Oh, shit. This is even worse than you forgetting a word. I forgot my point. The different things that teaching. So like a structure is just terrain, but it's just terrain all smashed into a real tight spot. And so it's like, well, how do we use that particular terrain if we need to fight in it? And then we do like the gun stuff, which is, you know, kind of irrelevant to the terrain types of terrain that we're in. And gun and force on force pretty much covers most of the things. And then some ancillary skills, like we do a radio class for the guys that carry radios and land nav, so people don't get lost in case they happen to be out, you know, and not in the urban area. The bug out class kind of falls into that little, you know, skills, outdoor skills as well. So yeah, we touch on a couple of different things, but I think the fact that we do the bug out stuff is probably a little different than most gun teacher guys. They don't. Yeah. They tend to shy away from that. And then there's dudes like Craig Cottle down at Nature Reliance School. Nature Reliance, was it Center School? Regardless, Craig's awesome, and he doesn't get now. Craig's taken a bunch of gun classes, and he's taught for fieldcraft. He's taken fighting pistol with Jay. So he knows that stuff, but he doesn't teach that stuff. And he focuses more on the outdoor portion and doesn't do the gun stuff. And then most of the gun people don't do the outdoor stuff. So I think one of our things that's a little unique is we do crossover as often as we can, mostly because I like being out in the woods. So it was a way for me to kind of sucker some gun guys into coming out in the woods with me.
You know, to stick to the point of training is our home, right? It's where we live. Training is where we live. It should be, you know, like you mentioned earlier, you have students that kind of take it all off. It's like, all right, there's the training. It's over there in the corner, and that's where it's going to stay until I need it. But you kind of bridge a couple of gaps in the training industry because everyone wants to wear the cool guy stuff, but nobody wants to walk the cool guy mile.
No.
Right? You know, I every October I do a run that's the Mogadishu Mile.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put on all my stuff. I'll hop on the treadmill and I try to run a mile without stopping. I'm getting better, not quite there, but I've never stopped trying. Just celebrate that event, or you know, revere that event.
Right.
Celebrate.
I knew what you meant there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The internet is probably like, "Why is he celebrating?"
Yeah, the internet likes to take me out of context. That's okay.
Yeah, I've seen.
But you know, so you kind of bridge that headspace gap of, well, this is my fieldcraft time and this is my shooting time. It's kind of like how Sonny has his shooter fighter matrix, which is a bridging of the shooting portions and the hand-to-hand portions.
Yep.
Because it seems that in the industry, at least, or various circles, they break down into exactly that, just circles.
Yes. With like the Venn diagram has very little overlap there.
Yeah, like very little. And I think that's a little unfortunate because what it does is it compartmentalizes where we live.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and we're supposed to be indifferent to it, meaning, you going back to the last week's be in all things have no preferences. There we go. I got words out eventually. My goodness. But also be indifferent to where you live. And if your training is where you live, then you are indifferent to the tools and you have no preferences in how you do this. If it's field craft required, then it's field craft required, and I don't have to switch over to a whole different headspace. I got to take everything off because I got to make a fire. Hang on, I would fight this guy, but I'm in my shooting apparel.
Yep, I'm not in the karate apparel or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta put my gi on.
Yep.
Hang on, time out.
I got the wrong costume.
Yeah. Go back to the cosplay. I think it's interesting that you do have that where you are bridging a gap in the training space or in the training headspace, which is this is a separate thing, and here's how it matches, and we're going to make you ruck like I don't know how much rucking you do in.
They do a lot less than they feel like they've done. I'm not going to throw a bunch of shade at the group here on the interwebs, but the numbers don't match up with the amount of effort that they have put out. If you look at the distances covered, but it's okay as long as we're seeing progress. I'm not asking anyone for perfection. Just as long as we're getting better.
Right. Some improvement is better than no improvement.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, well, that's all I had. You talk much more succinctly than Sonny does. I'm throwing shade at him. He can talk forever.
He can. And I like talking to him. What baffles me is that he'll use the right words and more of them way more often than I do. And I'm like, it ain't even your fucking language. How do you even know that word?
My guess is because he studied to infiltrate us, and so he became well adapted to our culture. And because I asked him if he'd ever seen a John Wayne movie, and he's like, "I'm from Soviet." Of course, we did it in class to learn we learned American culture.
Yep.
Like, hey, which class? Sunday, like primary school or the other schools?
Of course, then when he got here, he looked around and he went, "Where the fuck's John Wayne? All I see a bunch of dudes in man buns with tight pants."
Culture shock. This isn't what they told me.
He's like, I can't. It was all a psyop. John Wayne was a psyop for the Russians.
So, well, I try not to do this like Andrew does, where we do the meat and potatoes and then we do comments, but it somehow it keeps winding up that way. So, if you'd like, we can go through comments real quick.
Yeah, because hell, somebody might have said something awesome.
Yeah, well, I never know. Also, I can't see the comments because I got the captions and the design, so I could put up the pictures and the little tickers and stuff. For those who don't know, Tremis Dynamics has a QR code dangling above his head.
You can scan that with your smartphone.
Yeah, I learned how to do that.
I'm going to do it to see if it works. Oh, yeah. Where's it taking me? Right to my website. God damn.
Yeah. And it even says right at the top, someone scanned the QR code.
Oh, it did. That was me.
Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to do that, because eventually now I can switch it over to mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can properly, and I didn't ask Andrew, but Andrew apparently knows how to do this. I asked my wife, who asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT told her how to do this, so I can do my website and then have yours, and then I can also link my individual classes, which I'll be doing. But we'll talk about that later. We're doing comments. Right,
we're doing the comments.
Let's see. Hello. I hated living in Massachusetts.
I hated working in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is a horrible state.
And Boston is absolutely the worst city I've ever driven in. And now there's some cities I haven't driven in. I have never been to Seattle, so I don't know what that's like, or Portland, or San Francisco.
Seattle is a straight line. I-5 goes straight through it. and somehow they fuck that up.
I've driven through Manhattan, and which you would think is bad, and Boston's 20 times worse.
Let's see here. Everything's hello except Javier Malav. I hope I said it right. How
He's
far?
an ocean Mexican. I don't know. I can't speak their language.
How far from your reach is a weapon when you are at home? Well, I don't know about you, Gary, but my guns are on me until I go to bed, and then as soon as I wake up, they go right back on.
So you live that life better than I do. I also have less small children in my home than you do, so this may come to play a part in this. I just have rifles spread all over my house. There is one in this room with you right now that I'd show you, but YouTube will shut the live stream.
Yeah, YouTube and Facebook will nuke me out of orbit.
Yep. But just about, I'm never more than a step away from a long gun if I'm not wearing a pistol. Although once I put a pistol on, it does tend to stay that way for most of the day.
I've got a rifle, not in this room, but in the bedroom, that's hung up on the wall so that it's outside of reach of small fingers.
Yep.
But once I'm awake, the handguns go on, and yes, handguns, not gun, because of course the Musashi quoter would carry 2 fucking handguns, as one should. But then they stay on because I've hit that point of stasis where it's comfortable for me to just have them on, and drive and do everything else it is I need to do. So it does kind of make a difference if you got small wee ones running around the house.
It makes it a little harder to just leave random guns laying all over.
Yeah, it's not the best idea, and I can't even leave other tools. But right next to my bed is not a handgun, rifle, or a shotgun. It is a shovel. One of the cold steel Spetsnaz shovels. And I go over, and this is going to be, you didn't give me classes to pimp, so I'm just going to pimp myself.
That works out.
Seeing how I'm going to see you here, and this is where all these classes are going to be anyways.
Yep, it's the perfect time to do the pimpage.
Yeah, so something I go over in BBB. Don't ask me what BBB is. I did the podcast with Mike and Max, and I couldn't fucking remember. So I just call it BBB. It's bedroom bullseye bed.
Yeah, I see where we're going with this.
All the B's, right?
Yep. Big, black, and beautiful.
Exactly. My wife helped me make that picture that I have there for it. She's the one pointing the gun at my head.
Well, you got to pick someone that you love to point a gun at you.
It's like, I somewhat trust you not to press the trigger on this for now. But
my wife would say, "How'd you get that picture?" And I'll be like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I didn't know you had a camera set up all them times I pointed a gun at you." Wait, what?
How'd you know? But that's something I go over in that class is, and actually in Stabbers and Stubbers, is that the gun is not always should not always be the first tool you go to, because there are inherent risks involved that, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about, probably because they're not about that lifestyle or that training style, and so it gun just becomes a simple 2 + 2 = 4 equation. Like the last time I used a gun, every time I've seen someone use a gun, they die and the problem goes away. So that should probably be what I use all the time, right?
Well, if that's the only tool you got, and I don't mean the only tool you got, like it's the only one I own. If it's the only one that you own is able to use a gun.
Yeah. So there's BBB, and like I said, I'm indifferent because I've got plenty of tools, and my training has been contextual at best. So Yeah, it's a shovel next to my bed, and there's a reason for it, and I go through it in BBB. And when I'm in the car, I have various bladed instruments and I go over that and stab us and stuff us.
And
It's not
those
a
are
knife class; it's just a tools class.
yep.
Um, where's that QR code? There it is. And I'm doing both of these in Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel.
Yep. And for those who are wondering, the BBB class, the second day is force on force. Yeah. So day one is going to be daytime to nighttime, working various concepts, ideas, and theories. And then day two is going to be force on force, in which I'm going to throw a lot of weird shit at you based off of things we have collected over the years of violent encounters.
Awesome.
And home invasions that kind of stuck with me a little bit. It's like, how come we don't teach people to deal with that? So,
and those are in August. What, the 4th is the Stabs and Stubs? That's Monday.
Yep.
The 4th.
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday is the BBB.
Yep. Only thing that you need to remember to bring for Stabs and Stubbas is a hoodie you don't care about, because we will be playing with Sharpies. So you will be.
So a black hoodie is probably not the one.
I mean, you can, but I'm just gonna post on the social medias that you suck, and that really the reason your hoodie is black is because you just kept getting stabbed, and we had to find different spots.
Well, the hoodie that I care least about that I own is an old black tactical response one, and it's got like green stitching where I sewed it together when it got ripped when somebody drugged me by it through the shoot house, and so.
Well, now that you say that, I'm gonna have to buy a silver Sharpie so that
I will grab an olive drab hoodie. I know I have one of those floating around here too. Don't tell Pete, but it's a Defiant hoodie.
I think Pete will be okay if it happened in one of my classes.
What, it also has a bleach stain and some grease stains on it, so I don't really wear it much because I look like a fucking hobo.
That's fun. You know, that's hilarious because I will go out of my way to put on the stain shit when I go out. You know, that was something I tried to. I could not, for the life of me, get a good picture of it. But it had to do with our head space, living space. The way we dress is also has to do with the way we live. The gray man and the abundance of people talking about being a gray man, not really understanding that you're probably not.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you can be prepared at what I would consider the most minimal degree and still and then remotely pull off the gray man. So like if you have closed toe shoes on, like, to me that's a minimum for going outside of my own yard. Something like I could turn and run in. And I think for the most part, if you ain't wearing like flip-flops and baggy gym shorts, you know, like some sort of basketball type attire, people get suspicious that you are, I shouldn't say people. Those who I would like to think that I'm the gray man go, oh, the dude in the hikers, yeah, he's carrying a gun. Like, they just go right there, right away, because I'm not wearing fucking Crocs.
Yeah, it's funny because when I worked for Amazon and I'd be doing deliveries in Seattle, I could always find the guys who had guns. It wasn't hard.
Yeah,
for all those who think they're gray manning it up, you are not gray manning it up.
Yeah, the people that fall for it don't matter.
Yeah, they're not the problem.
Yep. The cashier at the Quickie Mart, like, she doesn't give a fuck she doesn't care if you're carrying a gun, and she's the only one that you bullshitted with your look.
Right.
The dude who's going to shank you with a screwdriver pegged you the moment you got out of your fucking Tacoma.
Yeah.
And he was just like, nope, not that one.
Yeah. And
just like we did to him, and went, yeah, that guy's a problem.
Yeah. it was always funny for me, because you'd watch these gray men get out of their vehicles and then go straight into like the Starbucks or wherever. You could just kind of pick them out because they don't even look. It's just. Sorry, more like this.
Yep.
Like, oh, so you're armed and looking at your phone. What's in there? Tell me.
I mean, if their gray man is meant to look like a potential victim, maybe
yeah, yeah, it's a Zinchian tactic. You'll never figure this out.
Yep.
There.
Layers upon layers of subterfuge.
Now all the viewers are going to taper off because I mentioned 40K again. And
yep.
Well, that's it for me. We've pimped the classes. We've talked about the things. We've covered the pictures like that.
Mm-hmm.
Take this guy seriously.
Now, if someone had that, if that was my range and that shit was all set up there, I could come up with some stuff to do with that. But the stage that he is shooting isn't the thing that I would suggest that we do with it.
One of my biggest questions for these cats out here. Oh, let me move my QR code. It's not like it's stopping you from seeing anything, but let me move it. My biggest question is, why has it got to be see-through netting? Why can't you just, like, tarp is cheap.
It's cheaper than netting.
Yeah, like you could just put up the tarp, and now I'm occluded. And I Googled it, and Reddit gave me a post from 5 years ago of that one incident where they were taping up their targets downrange, and they're like, "This is why." I was like, I still don't understand why, because you had the see-through netting and y'all fucked up still.
Yeah. So, but I almost view it as like the typical like cop or army solution. People were doing something poorly, so they said, what physical thing can we change in order to have that happen less often? The answer is a software change, but that's not the answer they want. They want to buy a thing to make the problem, I'm going to throw this in air quotes, go away. Well, no one will be downrange if we can see through the walls. Well, they can still be downrange. Yes. Are you more likely to catch it? Probably. But are you devaluing the training? Yes. Because training is a dangerous thing. And the ways to mitigate that aren't see-through walls. The ways to mitigate that are protocols for making sure that people aren't downrange. Boy, this is really something we should have talked about with Sonny. He could have fired the internet all about.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the topic. I offered him to do a different topic. Look, when I invite you guys to come do this, you're not required. It's just whatever's next in line. But you could skip a few.
Well, I'm just, if he mentioned, how do we keep people from being downrange while we're shooting? I think the fucking internet would have loved that. I mean,
oh yeah.
But having a system in place to not have fucking randos down there taping up targets. But I also, I assume that's a match, and it's not training, no matter how much people who go to matches want to claim different, because there is no watchful eye of an instructor who's going to guide you to be better. It's just a guy with a timer and a score sheet. So they're focused on how many people can we put through so that we can get this shit tore down and we can go home afterwards. And right there is the problem. The mindset is it's an assembly line of getting everyone through shooting these stages. That's how you end up downrange, not because the walls are opaque.
Well, there was, I don't know if you caught that debate between Lewis and that competition guy.
No, I did not. Although I've talked to both of those people independently of each other. The Raz guy only a couple times through instant messenger, but obviously Lewis a bunch. But the motherfuckers put it on Instagram, the world's worst fucking video hosting platform.
So
where I can't go find it later.
So I screen recorded the whole thing, all 3.5 hours of it from start to finish. but it's on my fucking phone, and I've got to devote the bandwidth and the time to get it off my phone, and I'll put it on the YouTube channel and have it be a
Yeah.
private link so that people can go and see it if they want to see it.
Because I probably wouldn't watch it, but I would listen to it while I was doing other shit. Because at 3.5 hours, like Lewis knows better than to expect me to watch something for 3 hours.
Yeah. But it was an interesting thing that Mr. Raz had said, and that was that, you know, when you're doing any sort of manipulations with your guns, you've got to put the safety on first. And it went down a track, and then he alluded to the idea that his safety was a buffer for shit trigger discipline.
Well, it's the Army way. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not saying he
guess.
was in the Army, but like, you know, on an M16, the Army wasn't going to let him go without having one, because that lever will keep us from having to teach people to keep their fucking finger off the volume control.
I mean, Glocks and AKs. I mean, you'd think that the Russians had spent most of their time shooting each other more than anything else, because I don't know how you do that with an AK. Still, we ought to have, and this I brought this up with Sonny last week about in all things have no preferences, because I mean, if your preferences are an AR and you get really good at putting safeties on to reload, how the fuck do you do that with an AK? Oh, my preferences are ARs. Well, AKs are the most popular rifle in the fucking world. There's more AKs than there are anything else, or AK variants, because you got a lot.
All them other ones they're all AKs too.
Yeah, they're all just AKs. So, you know, but it was an interesting ingress into the way these cats think. They keep calling themselves the practical shooting crowd.
At least they got a name.
I look, give me some time. I will brainstorm a name. Nobody will like it, so
But it won't stick.
It won't stick. Everyone will say this was stupid. You know,
I can't even pronounce it. And why's it got to be based around Musashi? Somebody will throw that out there.
You're assuming it would have been based around Musashi, probably.
Well, if you come up with it, it'll be Musashi based. If I come up with it, it'll be stolen from 40K. Of course, the good part is most people don't realize that's where I stole most of my good names from. But
I mean, I stole Stabbers and Stubbers from 40K too. So
oh yeah, I was like, hey, I got that. I know that ain't Musashi.
Yeah, well, the only reason I did that was, you know, because it's like, well, you got to have a pistol class. Every instructor's got a pistol class. I was like, well, I don't fucking know what I want to do, so I'll just borrow a bunch of people's drills, and there you have it.
And the name's catchy, like it rings. Man, when people have like, I have Tactical Pistol 1 and Tactical Pistol 2, I'm like, oh, I don't want to take them because I wouldn't even remember what it was called.
Yeah, I've taken enough level 1 or 2 pistol courses, and I'm just like, your names suck.
When guys are like, oh, you took a class from Tactical Edge. I'm like, yep. Like, what was it? I'm like, whatever they call their level 1 rifle class. And then someone will say, oh, you mean this? I'll be like, I guess. I don't know. It didn't stand out.
Yeah.
Like the class was fine. The name, I don't remember. It was probably the same as everybody else's name.
I don't know. So when I made Stabs and Stubbers, I also realized, like, I don't fucking care what these people think. I'm just going to make a class. There you go. And it's going to be what I want to teach, which is...
So as it turns out, the class I'm most known for, like now, is Fish, which makes until you see like the acronym spelled out, it makes no sense to anybody. They're like, you have a fishing class? Yeah, but it ain't that kind of fishing. But it sticks. Like everyone remembers Fish because like, well, that's not tactical home defense CQB. Nope, that's way different. So when it comes to the marketing angle, the oddball name that is easy to remember it's pretty clever. So I mean, Stabbers and Stubbers, I'm down for.
Yeah, I worked hard on putting that one. That one was a product of working at Amazon. I can't. Well, I mean, now it's about me. It was supposed to be about you, but damn it,
It's okay.
But yeah, I built Stabbers and Stubbers around my time working for Amazon, because as I'm sitting there in the back of those fucking 9,000-degree vans that you all see, which by the way, if a little inside trade secret for any of you, where whoever's delivering your package absolutely has pee on their hand because there's nowhere to fucking go to the bathroom.
Mm. Years ago, I did a Christmas season with UPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like real happy when we had a delivery to the grocery store because I'm like, haha, I know where the bathroom is.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, thankfully Amazon's kind of changed the delivery algorithm, so they've started making it so drivers are driving around a public restroom. But I kind of discovered real quick that a lot of what these guys teach would have gotten me killed if someone had decided that this was the van that they wanted to invade. Uh, one, because of the closed-in spaces. Two, because usually I had my hands full of other stuff.
Yep.
Like I've got packages and shit, and it's not that I valued your package because it really fucking didn't. Because Amazon's policy is if like a dog comes at you, throw the package at the dog. They're like, put the package between you and the dog. Is like, because they're not expecting me to have a giant ass fucking knife that I use for dogs.
Right.
But
and it's way cheaper for them to replace the package than it is to pay for you having medical bills.
Yeah, Amazon was very clear. It's like, if someone wants the van, just give them the fucking van. We do not care. Don't get hurt.
Yeah.
So, people are like, it doesn't care. I felt pretty cared for. They're like, throw packages at shit. Give them the everything. Just
here's a MacBook.
Yeah. But like if I have an armful of packages, also a stand-in for groceries, children, list goes on and on and on. No matter how much I tried to convince myself I would, every time it ever happened, I didn't. Because people would pop out of the corner. And of course, I have headphones in because I'm a millennial American. And, 9 hours of driving around in circles, I'm going to be listening to something. I'm going to have headphones in. It's mundane. It's horrible. It's hot. I got to listen to something to get through it. And so people would surprise me all the time. And, every time, no matter how much I convinced myself, I would drop the package like all the instructors tell me I will do. I never did. I just clutched it harder. Like, you will drop the can. I'm like, ah!
Yeah, I probably won't.
Like, okay, apparently I will not.
I assume that if it's the can, I'll hold on to it. And if it's something important, I will drop it. Like I'll drop the car keys to get pistol out. But if it's a cup of coffee, I'll hold on to it. Like, why did I carry this?
Yeah,
why did I drop the car keys? Like the thing I needed to get out of here.
I never managed to convince myself to do it, even though like I've seen so many instructors say this is what you need to train yourself to do. So I was like, on my breaks, I'd be in the back dropping people's packages. Not really, maybe, I don't know. None of your packages, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, you don't deliver to PA. I'm good.
Yeah, and you get good at it, and then you finally actually have the opportunity when someone spooks you, or in my case, someone demands rather aggressively that you give them their package. I didn't do it, but I know better. And so I was like, so what if this guy decided that this was, he was going to take that package and by violent force, he wasn't even going to ask me, because if he asked me, I'll just give it to you. And so that's kind of where Stabbers and Stubbers came into birth. It's like, okay, it's not necessarily about package delivery. It's about the proximity in which I'm interacting with these people, and the fact that my hands may be occupied with stuff that I may not have the natural inclination to let go of. And I go into, I have some portion called the art of the thrown object. I can't give a good demonstration because it's live, and Facebook and YouTube will nuke me out of orbit, but everything you have is a weapon. It depends on how you want to use that. Your magazine, right? Your spare magazine has a little bit of girth and weight to it. Someone demands your wallet and you throw that at their face, it's not going to feel super great, and they'll probably duck. And really good time to maybe you break that contact, you have opportunity to beat feet, make space, draw your own weapon. Maybe you give them your wallet and then you just let them have it. But I think it's an underutilized technique that we've all kind of forgotten we can do. You know,
Yep.
we started killing mammoths with throwing spears, and it's like, you could still throw shit, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know about these young kids nowadays. They might not really be able to throw things.
This is true. But yeah, so in Stabbers and Stubbers, you will throw stuff, magazines. I won't make you throw your wallet because your important shit's in there. But
I don't want to have to dig up my shit off the range somewhere.
yeah, but but an example of what'll happen is if your gun runs empty and you did not recharge and reload your magazines, so you got no more bullets left, you are going to throw your gun and draw a knife.
I have a YouTube video. I reviewed a pistol. I don't remember what one, but in the video, I set the camera up like behind the head of a target and did a mag dump into the head, pow, 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 and then threw the gun. One take, hit the head of the target with the gun. I of course patted myself on the back, said that was fucking awesome. I don't have to photo or Adobe Premiere anything. But yes, there is video proof of me throwing a gun when it was empty and getting a good brain shot.
I had to laugh because there was a reel of me throwing dropping more like my Occam AK while I was recording stuff for BBB and such. And the internet lost its mind on me on that too. They're like, you should never throw a weapon at your enemy and stuff like that. I was like, but it was empty. There were no more bullets in it. And this pistol had bullets in it. And I kind of figured that would be the more handy thing to have in my hands. You should never throw your weapon. And I was like, but I can. And also,
they used to come with a little sword on the front of them.
Yeah, well, if it had the sword, that's how you can tell these people have never done bayonet anything. It's like, you should always have a sling. Have you ever tried that with a bayonet on?
I only own one rifle I can put a bayonet on.
It's an interesting thing you can go and find because there's this thing called YouTube, and you can YouTube bayonet training from World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and you can see that a sling, and then you can try it, do the things, and you'll find out that the sling will not allow you to use a bayonet very well. And my home defense shotgun has a bayonet on it. I got that Mossberg 590A1 specifically so I could put a bayonet on it. And I got
awesome.
So those who don't know, and Zach Bush says I'm allowed to take his shotgun class with a bayonet on it.
Oh, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, I have to, actually be in the vicinity of a Definitive Training Solutions shotgun class while I also have my shotgun and my bayonet.
Yeah. So what it sounds like is you need to host him and convince him to go all the way out there. I will tell you, he doesn't like to fly. That's a hell of a drive.
That's kind of the challenge of where I'm at.
Yeah.
There's the biggest competitor is Thunder Ranch right now. And then everything else is competition guys. So, trying to convince or these places that have their in-house training, because we just got training requirements for permits.
Oh, I'm sure those are a doozy.
I looked because I was gonna do it as a way to bring in students, and some of these places it's just the run-of-the-mill gun safety course. It's training, and I'm like, well, I could. But the amount of money I have to spend for range fee to do it, I'd have to just do this for free. And most of these people aren't going to show up. And also there's better places and better facilities, and that's just going to be a waste of time.
Well, we do it for the New Jersey permit. Not that I live anywhere near New Jersey, but New Jersey does out-of-state permits, so I got a bunch of PA students that want a New Jersey permit. So I don't do a permit class for it. I just tell them if they want to shoot the New Jersey shooting qual portion and the written test, if they want to do it after a pistol class day, I will stay an extra half hour and run them through it. So I'm luring them into a different pistol class, and then I throw that on for free at the end of the day. So I have gotten some business out of that way. Guys are like, well, I don't need your day zero class, but I'm going to come take it so that I can shoot the Jersey qual at the end of the day. I'm like, yep, awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wish it was something short, like I could do it with that, but it's like 4 hours of talking. It's like I can't fit that. There's just no way that would fit.
That's the whole day.
Yeah, it's stupid shit. Didn't do anything. Everything's gotten worse. So, well, I don't mean to keep you any longer.
Yeah, it's a little later on my coast.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, which helps me keep these short. So,
all right.
Thank you for coming on, though.
Yep, anytime. I know I say anytime, but like, if you tell me Wednesday at 8, I'll say no.
So, real quick, for those who aren't aware, Tremis Dynamics QR code and Ashigari Defense QR code. I will be in Pennsylvania for Stabs and Stubbas, August 4th to August 5th, and my BBB class, August 6th. That's it. To August 7th.
And if it's any of my regulars and they want to come up for that and they need a place to crash, I can probably find a spot for them to do so. So I offer that to a bunch of my regulars too, couches and floor spaces and that kind of thing. So it holds true for Tom's classes as well. If you need a place, if any of you regular guys need a place to stay, hit me up and I'll see if I can't squeeze you in somewhere.
Yep, I got so that this one is the one that goes into the night, so that we can simulate your home in the dark with live fire, such things, and then we do some force on force, which I will have to talk to you about certain supplies on that.
I'm sure I can accommodate you.
So, all righty.
All right.